Hello and welcome to the Juicy Gossip Show. We're talking all about love, relationships and dating today. With it being Valentine's Day around the corner, we thought it would be fun. Our special guest today, our transformational coach expert, Marcus Matthews. Hi, Marcus.
Hello.
And we also have Penny Silver, who is a Reiki Master but also she's got some amazing stories to tell us about dating. So welcome to you, Penny.
Hi.
So we're going to jump right into it, and I thought we could talk about Valentine's Day and really the debate on, do we now think it's really commercialized, or is it still fun to you? So Penny, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I personally love it. I'm a hopeless romantic at heart, but I would say the people I've been out with don't like it at all. So there's a bit of a right. Apparently it's commercial, it's this, it's that and the other. So I often feel a little bit disappointed on Valentine's Day. So what I try to do is make it magical for my girls. So I make them a big Valentine's breakfast every year and decorate everything. And so I get my enjoyment that way from it.
That's a really nice idea. I've actually sent my daughter for years a card and some gifts and things. I think it's quite a nice thing to do. What about yourself, Marcus?
Well, this is interesting, isn't it? Because we don't celebrate Valentine's Day.
Right.
I'll tell you the reason why. It's the opposite. Because Michelle says it's a Hallmark holiday.
Yeah.
And why do I need one day a year to tell you that I love you? I can do that whenever. So actually, personally, I'd be all up for it, and was, but we've been together for a long time now. So yeah, we don't tend to do anything with Valentine's Day, but I think it is important to celebrate something or do something, isn't it? Although she did say this year, "What have you got me for Valentine's?" And I went, we never do anything on Valentine's Day, but I'm just going to put that down to the fact that she's probably trying to wind me up, because that's what she does every now and again. But yeah, we don't celebrate it. I think to each their own. To each their own.
I do too. But I mean, I think it has got, like any of the holidays, it has got a bit commercialized now, hasn't it? I mean, it's shoved in your face straight after Christmas, and and almost, I'm wondering if people feel a little bit, where they have to do something.
So much pressure, isn't there, though? I think on everything, everybody's under pressure.
Yeah. I used to be the business development manager at Gusto, and Valentine's Day was my favorite day to work because I've never seen so many arguments. It was literally Comedy Central. The worst one was when this guy got up from the table, literally, I can't remember what it was. It must have been his napkin or something, and slammed it down on the table and stomped out. And everybody at the whole restaurant was like, oh, like this. And it's hilarious.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you seen many proposals then in the restaurant? Or was it more arguments?
I think while I was working there, there was only one. We had a few weddings, but I think I only saw one proposal.
Right.
But no, it was, and you didn't really see arguments except on Valentine's Day. That was the funny thing.
That is weird, though. You see, that has to be a pressure thing, doesn't it? Maybe there's too much expectation from that one night or something.
Oh, I don't know.
Isn't it? I think there is expectation. And I'm getting, is there, this is an interesting question and I don't know it, but is there an expectation from women that men nowadays, given everything's equal and all the rest of it, is there still that expectation that men should do something on Valentine's Day and it's the man's responsibility to book the table? And it's an interesting question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Penelope's nodding now. I don't know if that's an agreement or yes, he should.
I am a modern woman. I'm very independent. Been single pretty much for 14 years, but I am very, very old-fashioned when it comes to love. I like the man to take the lead and to make the plans and things like that. And it doesn't mean that I don't reciprocate. I will, and I'll shower them with love and affection and gifts and things like that. But I definitely like the man to make the effort.
And I'm the same. Yeah. It just makes me feel more special somehow that they've thought about these things and put something into it. Is that what you feel, Penny?
Yeah, especially when it's planned as well. So it's a marker for me. Like if I'm dating somebody, and it probably sounds really awful, but this is just me, okay? If somebody hasn't booked a table like the night before we're going out for dinner, that just turns me off. That.
Yeah.
I like it to be planned and thought out, and I think because I don't really know how to say this, it's almost a form of foreplay for me. Like they've thought about it, you speak about it, like you get excited about it before it happens, rather than just
anticipation.
Rather than you get in the car and it's like, oh, not booked anywhere, where do you fancy, where should we try and get in? You're just like, oh.
Yeah.
Equally though, I think the same for the guys. I think guys generally, I think it's only been in the last few years that things have kind of changed. I think sometimes guys wonder, what do I do now? I kind of had this rule book that I kind of agree that there's this kind of rule book that's what the guy does. But nowadays, is it if I do that, am I going to offend the person? If I'm going to do, maybe this is where the arguments come from. I don't know, but it's just interesting, isn't it? And I guess nowadays as well is everybody going to put it on Instagram? So have you got the right table that's Instagrammable?
Yeah, I am. It's going on Instagram.
So much pressure. So much pressure.
There is though. This is the interesting thing about what I was trying to say. There's so much pressure in this now. And yes, I think it's a really good point, that, Marcus, in that it's not private anymore, is it? Everything's out there. And almost like everyone's in competition with everyone else.
Well, it's actually, I'm joking when I say that, because I use social media for my business, I actually don't post my private life on there.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
I keep it to myself. So if I'm out for dinner with a date, it does not go on social media. I think there's things that people don't need to know.
Yeah.
And because my business is all on social media, I think it's nice to keep something back and have something private.
I mean, I have 2 accounts, Insta. So I've got my business, and then I've got my private one, but that is private. You have to request to be a friend on there, but I do put odd things on that one, but I would never mix the 2 together. Yeah, so it's interesting, isn't it? So what is your ideal Valentine's Day if you could have anything at all? Marcus, what would you do?
I go kayaking. No. That would. Do you know what? If I was going to, an ideal Valentine's Day for me, I love Italy. I adore Italy. I love Italian food. And we went, when we were near Rimini, there was a village we went to called San Leo, and it was beautiful. And it had this open terrace, and the food was just divine. We weren't there, it was there. But that was one of those places where it was so intimate. So you can go to Venice, and you can go into Rome, and you can go and do all that. But it overlooked this valley, so you just sat there, and it was just beautiful sunset, like beautiful wine, beautiful food, just sunshine, and it was just awesome. So I think something that's different, something that's intimate, something that's kind of special. It doesn't need to be boy or something like that. I think really good food, just good company in a beautiful setting that's simple and fuss free.
I agree.
Then you're connected with yourself rather than the environment, and you don't feel pressured. So
and relaxed, something relaxed, So I agree. That sounds wonderful. I can see it, the vision in my head. So just somewhere away for a few days.
I just want to go there now.
And what about yourself, Penny?
Do you want the fantasy version or the reality version?
We'll have both, because I know you'll be honest.
Okay, so the fantasy version is I really want to go and see the Northern Lights. So if anybody took me to do that, that would just be like
amazing.
A keeper.
Yeah.
Reality would be take me hiking, take me up to Valentine, Snowdon, anything like that, and then a log fire and a bottle of wine at the end of it, and a steak, actually, Marcus.
Yeah, the steak. Yeah.
Yeah, I love hiking, so that would be like my ultimate day out.
Well, if after doing Helvellyn, you'd probably want a leg massage or a foot massage and all the rest of it, because that's what I've done Helvellyn. It's quite steep.
I have, and we couldn't see that far in front of our face, and we came down the wrong side. And when we got to the bottom, this couple went, "Where did you just come from?" And I was like, "Just up there." And she's like, "Why on earth would you come that way?" And I was like, "I don't know, we couldn't see."
Yeah.
Down on my arse all the way.
I must admit, you said about the Northern Lights, one of those, the igloo pods, those would be awesome. I think that would be really romantic with the Northern Lights and in one of those igloo pods.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Or sitting in a natural hot spa in Iceland, something like that would do me.
Yeah, I think that sounds even better, doesn't it?
A bottle of Lauren Perrier rosé.
I'm really quite depressed now. Just want to go.
I know. Oh well, we can always look at that for another time, can't we? But what a great few things there. It's something about being away though that is just magic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Regardless of what the occasion is, you'd always make it lovely anyway. So what I want to know now is, do you think there's a lot of pressure on single people to become attached or married or live together? Whereas, years ago, Granny used to say, oh, you're the last one to get married, you're on the shelf, you're this, you're that. Do you think there's a lot of pressure for people to become attached or to be with someone so that they look whole?
I'm just going to apologize to my mum before I say this, but yes, mum. It's like, you need to get married, you need to find a man, you need to settle down. I don't need to do any of those things. I'd like one. I'd like to do those things, but I don't need to.
No.
So yes, I would say.
I do too. And I think, it's almost become where there's a percentage, I think, that are still like that. But I do think on the other part of the spectrum that people are more accepting of people being single and being more independent. What do you think, Marcus?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know, again, Penny, my mum was the same. Me and Michelle were together for like forever before we eventually got married. Did it completely the wrong way around, had kids and all the rest of it, and then got married. I don't know. You see, Harry, my eldest, he's 18 now. He's just joined the parachute regiment. And he, in his head, his thing would be to get married, have kids, and all the rest of it. But I suppose it's a familiar story. For me personally, I don't think the marriage is the important thing. I think it's that you're with the person that you want to be with, and you shouldn't be defined by a ring or a religion. Actually, what we want is love and happiness, and that should be at the heart of everything we do. And if people don't like it, then for me personally, it's like, well, screw you. It's not your life, it's mine.
Well, it's nothing to do with anyone else, is it? Let's be honest. But that was one of my questions. Do you feel that if you were single, would it define you? Because you get those titles, undateable or too fussy or picky or weird, or you're on the shelf, don't you?
Well, I know that I get excluded from things because I don't have a partner. So I don't get included to things. That's a bit like, and it's weird that when you do start seeing with somebody, all of a sudden you get invited to dinner parties and all sorts of things. And you're like, that's a bit like, why can't I come when I'm on my own? But the undateable thing, I've never been called that until I was saying I was at work on Friday and I was saying that I was doing this. And one of the guys there, one of the directors, he was like, "Oh yeah, when I first met you, I thought you were really unapproachable." He said, I wouldn't date you. And I was like, what? I was like, well, you're one of the most down-to-earth people ever. He goes, "Oh, I know that now. I know you." Right. He said, "Oh no," he said, "if I saw you out," he said, I wouldn't come up and talk to you. I wouldn't ask you out." And I was like,
did you ask him why?
Yeah, because he said he thought I was not undateable. He said unapproachable. Yeah.
Right.
Do you think that's because society hasn't really accepted women stepping into their own power? I think that's what it is. I think it's very difficult, maybe for men and women, to accept a successful woman who is single, who is self-aware, loves herself, and is powerful. And that's nothing against the woman, it's more against the man. who probably doesn't know where his place in society is now. And I wonder if that's it. So you can have, like you just said, Penny, people might look at you and go, that person's not approachable, but then they're just seeing the outside of you. They're not actually having a conversation or getting to know you. And people will make assumptions, won't they, based on what society and Instagram tells them.
It happened. Sorry, Penny. It happened to me when I was single, and it was always nobody would approach me. And when it came down to it, they were either scared of me or they just thought I'd say no. But that's based solely on look, surely. It can't be anything else because they don't know you.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's weird for me because people, strangers, complete strangers, come up to me and start telling me their life story. Like, honestly, like literally in the street. And then they go, I don't know why I just told you that. And I'm like, and you're like, so I can't be unapproachable.
No, definitely not. So it must be that maybe those men feel a little bit threatened by the strong woman label, maybe.
Yeah, because as I say, I think society, I don't think people know who they are nowadays. I think we're all trying to conform to some invisible rule book that nobody really knows. Instead of going, actually, we're just spirits having a human experience. You know, the thing that's inside us, that voice that's inside our mind, that one that tells us all those stories, there's nothing to do with the body. The body's just our vehicle, isn't it? But we're so fixated, I think, on the external rather than actually understanding who somebody really, really is.
That is a really good point, actually. So when you do get your dates, and obviously in the past, because I know you're married now, Marcus, but I'm just wanting to know, how many dates would it be acceptable before you moved into the bedroom?
Are you asking me that question?
Yeah, I'll ask you first.
Okay. I think as adults it's consensual and you can just do whatever you want to do. Is that a cop-out enough?
No, not really, because I agree with that. I don't think there should be a rule book on anything. I think it's circumstance. And I think it's just, if it feels right, it feels right, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I think, again, it's that pressure not to do it, pressure to do it. And also, you don't have to go all the way if you don't want to do. I think as long as you've got open communication and actually it feels right, then go and do it. You know, why not?
I have I've had friends in the past where they've got this little book and it's all these little rules of, oh no, not before 3 dates. I've got to go out for dinner with them one day and I've got to do this another. And I'm thinking, oh my Lord, just let things be natural. What about yourself, Penny?
So, when I met my husband, I can't remember. Oh, well, no, okay. So when I met my husband, I didn't really drink before I met him, and he took me out.
That doesn't sound good.
I was going to say that's
I started drinking when I met him, and he took me out on this date, and he literally got me this goldfish bowl of red wine. And then the next day I remember was waking up in the morning and I didn't know where the hell I was. I remember opening my eye and then I felt somebody move in the bed next to me and I was like, oh my God, like this. And I went like this and I was like, oh my God, I still got my dress on like that. And nothing had happened, thank God. But I think it was about maybe 4 or 5 dates. I mean, we just absolutely adored each other and we couldn't keep our hands off each other. However, since then, being on dating sites as well, I've been on quite a few dates. So if I sort of did date 3, date 4, I like Dartford Tunnel, sorry to be graphic, but but the other thing that I realized as well is that if I sort of wait till about day 8, for me, it's still a little bit early because you really still don't know them. I find that when you get to sort of 12 dates or something like that, the shine starts to come off a bit because they can't keep it up, the best behavior kind of thing. So you start to actually see the real person underneath. So it depends. I don't have I am going to wait 3 months. And on the 3rd month, let's do it kind of thing. It's a see how you go. But I've found that the longer I wait, the more you get to know somebody.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good way of looking at it. I mean, there's a lot around this one night stand and mental health. Do you think society are moving towards more of a no commitment approach? So, you know, particularly men. I say that because I do think it's more the men. I might be wrong there because I'm not in the dating scene anymore, but it was very much like that when I was dating. It was just, oh, well, I'll ring you, or we'll see, or I'd like to see you, but I don't really want a relationship kind of thing. So do you really think it's moving that way, Marcus?
I think because we've got Tinder and Bumble and all of those dating apps now, I think online people can go, this is what I want. So I want a serious relationship. I want a one night stand.
Yeah.
So some of that, I guess the fun of playing around that and understanding what the person wants. So I don't think it is just a man thing now. I would say the opposite. I think women are becoming more liberated as well. I think the key with all of this is, like with any relationship, is about communication and actually having the voice to be able to say, this is who I am, this is who I want. So then at least people are aware. So
yeah.
If you just want to go out and have a one night stand, you know, be safe, make sure that people know that that's what you want, then that's fine. If you want a committed relationship or you're looking for something, be honest with people.
Yeah, I think that's the point here. It's the people that are doing these dating apps aren't honest, are they?
Yeah.
A lot of the time, they're sort of giving those false promises out, and not just saying exactly what it is they're looking for. What do you think to that, Penny?
Well, I've heard from my friends, some absolute horror stories of being on dating sites. I luckily, touch wood, I've done okay. I've met some really, really lovely people. What I would say is that my two daughters, who are 14 and 16, they have a totally different view on this. They're like, mummy, you shouldn't be waiting for a relationship. You shouldn't be waiting for somebody that you want to spend the rest of your life with, kind of thing. They're just like, go out and have sex with as many people as you can and have a good time.
Really?
And I'm like, yeah. And they're all into this. The teenagers are all into like polyamorous relationships and stuff. They don't believe in the monogamy thing anymore at all.
Oh, well, I've learned something tonight.
This is what I would say as well. I kind of agree with that in many ways, that the impression that I get is that I also think, though, that a lot of younger people feel that they've been quite repressed. And I think they've got access to more information. And it's whether that information is good information or bad information. You know, and again, is it point scoring? Am I sleeping with that many people? What am I doing? This is what I should do. What's my label? And that's why actually mental health, I think, is a major impact, because it's about connection. People want connection, especially now. I think that age group, certainly my son turned 18 in COVID, never went out, never got to celebrate his 18th because of COVID. Everything was locked down. So I think there may be that hedonistic thing coming forward, because I think they do feel repressed. I don't think that generation do feel they've got the freedom maybe that other generations did, so they're being rebellious.
I know that I grew up with a lot of guilt and shame around sex that I don't even know where it came from, but I didn't want my girls to feel that way. I wanted them to feel free, to, like you say, liberated and things like that. So I just teach them, you know, to be safe, but also, you know, to recognize if something doesn't feel good, don't go there. You know, it's difficult.
So obviously, with you being single, how do you spend Valentine's Day? Is it just another day to you if you're not with someone, Penny, or do you treat yourself, or do you ignore it, or do you go out with friends? What do you do being a singleton?
I am going to get my hair blow dried at 9 o'clock on Monday. I'm looking forward to that. So I treat myself. I do for me what I would like somebody else to do. And then my way of giving, like I said before, is to make it special for the girls as well.
Yeah, that's good. And I don't know if you're aware, but there's a sad day, Singles Awareness Day, it's called. I keep hearing Valentine's. Is that the same thing? I don't know, but I just looked this one up, and it's called Sad Day, Singles Awareness Day. What are your thoughts on that, Marcus?
I hate labels anyway. And actually, what does that say? That if you're single, you're sad?
Yeah, and it's terrible.
Actually, being single doesn't mean that you have to be sad. Actually, being on your own can be some of the best time in the, you know, my wife will probably tell that. When I go away, if I'm doing anything, if I'm training or I'm away, you know, even when I was in the police, it's like, oh yeah, he's gone, I've got the bed to myself now. I'll just snuggle with the dogs.
Or the remote.
So, yeah, I've got the remote control. I can watch what I want now. He's not watching some kind of physics program or something and boring the life out of me. So yeah, why do we have to have these days? Why do we have to labels? You know, I'm just not a fan of labels, whatever it is. You know, if you like it, do it. If you're happy, do it. As long as it doesn't bother anybody else, who cares? That's my ethos on it. Anyway.
I agree. What do you think, Penny?
Well, I mean, I suppose I should say I like it because I like Valentine's Day, but I didn't even know it was a thing.
No, I didn't.
So I don't really have any thoughts on it.
No. Okay. So will we have a chat about our worst dates? What if I know that you're married, but there must have been some worst dates, Marcus, at some point. Can you remember that far back?
This is the thing, I've been really trying. You know what? Let me tell you a funny story. I guess it wasn't necessarily a date, but I remember when I was 14 and I was dating this girl called Claire. She probably won't see this, so it's fine. And I remember around from her house, her dad was actually a copper at the time, which was really interesting given that I then became a police officer. But they were building a new estate around the back of where they were. And I remember it clearly. There was these two piles of bricks, you know, when they put them on stacks. Yeah. And in between it was a gap. And I remember we went round there and like snogging and all the rest of it. The next minute I go, beep, beep, flashing lights, beep, beep, flashing lights. Marcus, come on, we're going home. And it was my mum. My mum had come to pick us up. So she'd clearly obviously gone round to Claire's house and gone, oh, you know, he should have been home. This is like 10 o'clock at night, you know, because you never go home, do you? Latchkey kid. So mum, it must have been the summer, but yeah. So she's obviously gone round. Where are they? I don't know. I think they might be round the corner. And so that was, I don't know if you can say it's worst date, but it was bloody embarrassing. I know that.
Embarrassing, yeah.
And then a walk of shame back to the car like this. Hi.
My one was it wasn't again really a date. It was more I went round to this guy's house. His mum was in and everything, and it was from school, so I was about maybe coming up for 16. And have you watched that Keeping Up Appearances, Mrs. Bouquet? Oh my Lord. So she gave us a cup of ours. We had like a cup of tea and we're watching telly in his room. And then she comes in and it was like Hoover out. And she was like getting the bed, trying to straighten it out like this, saying, oh, it's all messy this. And we're actually sat on it. And she was trying to get rid of me. It was just awful. Yeah. It was so embarrassing. Needless to say, I never went back. But have you had any worse dates, really bad dates, Penny?
Yeah. So I met this guy on a dating app called Luxy, and we were dating for about a year, I think. And he lived Worcester, I think it was, and he had come up to take me out for dinner, and we'd gone, and I was really excited because we were going to the Midland and we were doing a 10-course tasting thing. So it was like a really special night out and everything. And we sat there at dinner, and now I have changed it. My dating profile doesn't say this anymore, but on my dating profile, it said, my hair's my own, my eyebrows are my own, my lips are my own, my cheeks are my own, like this, because they are. And because I wanted to attract a man that wasn't into, I mean, God, I work in an aesthetics clinic, so I have nothing against it. It's just me. I prefer to be me. And I wanted to attract a man that, into a natural like look. So we start this conversation, and he was talking about my business and how I can make it better and be more visible in this, that, and the other. And he said, you know, have you thought about dyeing your hair? So I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, like red, like really, really red. vivid red to make you stand out. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm a natural ginger, but no, I haven't really done. And I was like, I was sat there, had a few drinks by this point. So, you start to feel a bit like vulnerable because you're like, where's he going with this? And then he's like, have you thought about like having fillers and like, like taking care of your face? And I was like, and like dressing like this and dressing like that. So I'm sat there and I'm like, did you read my date? Did you actually read? Because I realized at that point he hadn't read my profile. So I was like, did you read my profile? So he just went really quiet. And then he started saying something else and something else. So I was drunk by this point. So I was like literally knocking it back by this point. So I just went, did you read my dating profile like this? And he went, no. I said, what do you mean? He goes, I just looked at your picture and I thought you were fit. And I was like, and I thought, and I thought, I spent hours crafting that profile. But I thought, why would I want to be sat here with somebody that doesn't want to be here with me?
But how dare he want to change you anyway? That's a very personal thing to say, isn't it?
So I have to say, it's one of the very first times I actually walked out on a date. I got a taxi and went home.
Oh, brilliant. Good for you.
And I missed the food, so I was gutted. But yeah, so that was my worst date, I think.
I walked out on a date because this guy didn't like dogs. And I just said,
to be fair, that is a thing with me. If
I like you, animals, but no, sorry, there's no point continuing this. He said, you can't bring your dogs around my house and you can't this and you can't that. And I said, right, stop there. I said, there's no point. And I walked out.
You're not compatible, but that's why you date, isn't it? To find out if you are compatible.
Yeah. So what's your funniest story? Penny,
you
can go first because I've got to think about this.
Funniest story. Oh God, yeah.
I'm trying to think of a clean one.
No, well, mine's not clean. You'll understand what I mean when I say it. So met this guy on Match.com, and this was our second date, and he took me to Lim Dam for a walk around Lim Dam. And we walked and we're getting along and everything, and and we walked under this tree, and this bird did the biggest crap on my head. And and I had my hair, like I always wear my hair tied back with like in a plait. So it's like scraped off my face and just this bird poo like dribbling like down my face like this. And bless him, he won brownie points because he cleaned it off for me.
Oh, wow.
Mortified.
Oh, I bet you were. Did you see him again?
I saw him a couple of times afterwards, yeah.
Bloody hell, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it was. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, one of my first dates, I was really young though, but we went to McDonald's, and I bit into this fillet of fish, and all the tartar sauce just went splat. We had to stand up because it was so busy, so it just splat all over my shoes and all over my trousers, and I was so embarrassed. It was like at that age, you're just so embarrassed, aren't you?
Well, I'm like the clumsiest person on the planet, so that's just like an everyday occurrence for me. So.
I don't know if this is funny, shocking, or I'll soon find out. But I know when me and Michelle, so we met in the army. We were both in the military, and when we were both in London, so Michelle had just come out of training, and I was like on a cross posting, and I wasn't as rotund as I am now. I was quite fit, and Michelle wasn't as fit. She wasn't kind of into sports and that sort of thing as much, really. And you have to do a basic fitness test in the military. And I remember when we just started dating, really, and she was passing the test, but I said, you need to get yourself fitter and all the rest of it. So I remember making her carry me on her back to improve her fitness, and doing kind of a 1.5 miles carrying me through the streets of London. Which, when I think about it now, it was consensual. It wasn't like some sort of, right, if you don't do this, the relationship's off. She agreed to it. But when I think about it now, maybe you wouldn't get away with that nowadays. I don't know. I'm a really nice guy, by the way, for anybody who says, but that is kind of when I think about it, looking back, it's like maybe I was a little bit too keen.
Yeah, I think you were. Well, she's still with you.
She is, yeah. Well, still suffering, I suppose she'd probably say, but yeah. I think it's just because we can't be bothered dating if we did split up. I think that's what she tells me anyway. So,
yeah, it's hard work. I mean, I remember I was on my own 5 years, and you know all this, Penny. It is hard work, isn't it? It can be. You know, I say that because I've obviously met a lot of wrong ones, you know, and their intentions were wrong. So
I haven't. I've been really lucky. I've met some really lovely guys, but our energies just wasn't matched. It wasn't aligned, so it just didn't work out.
And do you think these dating apps, do you think they are the way forward? Do you think have they got a bad name because there's so many people on there that are wasting time, or do you think they are the best option?
Well, for somebody like me who is a single mum and I work full time, there isn't, well, I mean, and most of the time when I'm doing my work, people are asleep on a couch. So, you know, it's not like, where am I going to go out and meet somebody? So for me, I see it as the option. Although I tend to get messages from 20-year-old boys asking me if I want to be their cougar, and
well, you know, it can
so in that respect, I'm not meeting the kind of guy I want to meet. So
and I think it works both ways, because he's going to kill me. He's not going to be watching this, so it's fine, so I can say it. So I'll just make sure he doesn't watch it. But I remember Harry was coming back from training, and he'd met somebody, I think it was on Tinder, and they were from near Stockport. So he was coming in, he was staying at my mum's, and decided, you know, to go on this date. So he went into Manchester. They were going to meet at the station, so it was like all platonic, all neutral. And he'd come back to meet her because he'd met her, seen where she was from. She was near Stockport. Decided to meet up, and he obviously paid for his train ticket, got all the way in, and she didn't turn up.
Oh.
So he messaged her, and he was obviously absolutely livid, because it wasn't an issue. It's just if she didn't want to do it, then just message.
Just say.
But obviously, he spent a fortune on his train ticket. He's then come all the way into Manchester, got himself ready. He was going to take it out. He was going to do all that sort of stuff. And then she just left him high and dry. And so
I don't think there's any need for that, is there?
No, but this was quite funny though. And excuse my French, because this is what he said. I went, are you gonna get back in touch with her? And he just went, no, fuck her, it's her loss.
Yeah.
I thought, awesome. You know, he was annoyed, but he's like, no, I'm not wasting my time if somebody can't have the respect to do that. So I think maybe it is easy just to swipe and click.
Of course it is.
And you know, and maybe sometimes it's I like, they look nice, I'll go on a date, and then you go, I can't be bothered.
Maybe, I mean, playing devil's advocate, giving her the benefit of doubt. I mean, when I first went on a dating app, I mean, I was terrified. That first day I went on, I was terrified, and I nearly didn't go. So maybe it wasn't that she couldn't be bothered. Maybe she
I think it was the thing that he wouldn't have had an issue if it would have been, you know, I didn't want to do it, just didn't contact him at all. And it took quite a bit of time. So he didn't, because she'd not contacted him, and he was like, well, if she can't be bothered even contacting me just to say sorry, then that just shows that she hasn't got enough. But you might be right though. You never don't know, do you? You can only see it from one side of the story. But it may have been that she's gone, oh, actually, I don't want to do that. And you never know. A friend might have gone, oh, you know what these military lads are like.
Well, you don't know, do you? Any of it?
Because I was in the army, and I know what some of the guys are in the military are like. There are guys who are, you know, idiots. You know, not all of them are. So yeah, I suppose you have all these. That's the difficulty, isn't it? When you're just looking at a screen and you're making a complete judgment on somebody's face and their profile.
Yeah, and I think that kind of situation can really knock your self-confidence depending on where you are in your life. I mean, I remember being stood up. We're going back when I was maybe 18, 19, but I'd taken ages to get ready, and I was waiting. And, you know, at that time, I was really upset, and I just thought, is it me? What have I done wrong? And it's all that kind of thing. when you actually have to look at it a different way, don't you? You know, it's not your fault. It's the person, obviously, that stood you up that's got the issue. Have you been stood up, Penny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally all dolled up,
Yeah.
ready to go, and then didn't turn up. And then there was one where I literally was stood in the kitchen, and I phoned my mum and I went, I think I've been stood up. And then they messaged, they were 45 minutes late, and then they messaged and they said, oh, I'm on my way, kind of thing. So I was like, well, he's on his way now, so I'll go. But
yeah, well, that's okay, isn't it? If they're like,
but you think, well, why couldn't you have messaged
yeah,
at the time you were supposed to be here? Or
yeah, it's very complex, all this, isn't it? So when we're moving into, say, for people that are single, Marcus, and obviously we want your expert advice on this really now. How do they prepare for a date with the self-love, the self-care? So what I'm trying to say is we have to get ourselves to a point, don't we, where we're dateable.
Yeah.
So, and then we're not wasting anyone's time. So where do we start? Where would somebody start with that?
I think you need to go within, but you need to kind of ask a question, because a lot of people will look outwardly. So they'll say, if I become this, then I'll attract that. If I look this way, then I'll attract this person. And we're looking for that validation. We're seeking something that's not being filled with inside us. And one of the things that I talk a lot about clients, and whether it's a love relationship or whether it's a career relationship, anything, a family relationship, is that we need to be whole. And what we tend to, I don't like this phrase, I want another half. Yeah. Because actually what you want is another whole.
Yeah. So
when you can fall madly in love with yourself, with every part of your body, every part of your soul, every part of your spirit, and know that the chance of you being on this planet at this moment in time are billions and billions and billions to one, that actually all the answers are inside you. And anything that you think about yourself is actually an old story, and it's been created by people programming that thing into you. And one of the things I can say is, and anybody can do this, it sounds a little bit pervy, it's not, but I get clients to do this. It's something called mirror work. And Penny will probably know about this, but what I do is tell clients, find a mirror, bathroom mirror, strip off completely naked. Okay? And look at yourself and look at your body. And Danny did this recently, didn't she, on Instagram? Queen Bee, she did that thing about all of the, there's a beautiful post about loving all the scars and her war wounds, because those scars and those stretch marks have given birth to children and all the rest of it. But men and women can do this. And look at your body and look at all the perfect imperfections that you've got. And you can say to yourself, and see if you can do this, at the point you can look at yourself in the eye and look at your body and say, I love you because, and you can give an affirmation of why. You know, I am lovable because I am this. You know, I am beautiful because I am worthy of love because I am. You know, and being that perfect imperfectness means that you're enough. You're enough as you are right now. Yeah. And as long as you're enough for you, you will bring energy out. You know, we all see those people that they may not be super stunning, but there's just a beauty and an energy that comes out of them. And equally, we can see the people that look perfect, but inside we know that they're not rotten, but they're broken. Mm-hmm. And it's look into that person, look into the eyes to make, they say, don't they, the eyes are the gateway to the soul. And I think that's important. I think eyes are really important. And you know, when you can hold a gaze with somebody, I think that's important. If you can hold a moment with somebody's eyes, then you'll know whether they're that person. But I think it's having the courage and vulnerability. You know, vulnerability is the ultimate in courage, and saying, do you know what? I am worthy of love. And if you're not going to give me that, well, I can give it to myself. Yeah. You're not filling my cup up because I've already filled it up. Yeah. You're just the appetizer on the side. And I'm happy to have you there. But if you're not going to go with my main dish, then I'm okay with that. And you know, I think that's the thing. Self-love, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And how important is it, do you think, to heal? You know, when you hear of people going from one relationship to another, It doesn't work, does it?
It doesn't. And I'll share with you the psychology behind it, because it's dead simple. People think your mind is in your head. It's not. Your mind is in your head. It's in your heart. It's in your stomach. There are as many neurons in your heart and your stomach than there are in your head. So it's a whole body experience. When you have an amazing experience with somebody, you feel it all over. Love just doesn't come in your head. Love comes everywhere. The mind is there to keep you alive, not happy. That's the first thing. And to keep you alive, we like to make connection. We're beings that connect, but we connect to the familiar. So our mind loves the familiar. And as a police officer, one of the things I used to find really, really weird was you used to go to domestic violence situations and it was the same people. But when you looked at the antecedents, when you looked at the history, you would see that actually there was broken homes going back and back. So if you think that 80% of your programming is done between 0 and 8, then the map for life is already pretty much set by the time you're starting to date, but by the time you could become a teenager. Right. So the trick is actually reprogramming and understanding who you truly are, not who you've been programmed to be. And a lot of this conversation has been about that, hasn't it? Is that change? How does that change happen? How does other people influence how we show up, which relationships who we should go out with? And I think that's the real thing, is that the answers are not on the outside.
Yes.
All of the answers that you need are on the inside, and doing the inner work is so important. And we tend to look outside for the answers, but they're not. You have every answer to every question that needs to be asked inside you.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
That's the place to start. That's the place to start, 100%.
Yeah. And I also think as well, like you just struck a chord with me when you talked about the eye connection thing, because what I've found in my 46 years is that love, each time you meet somebody, the love is different. The feelings are different. The experience is different. I've definitely never had the same experience with different people. And just flipping back to your question earlier about undateable, picky, fussy, that kind of thing. One of the reasons why I personally might be labeled fussy or whatever is because of previous experiences I've had that have been so powerful, so strong. The connection, like there was one person that came to mind when you said about the eye connection thing, and we literally just used to sit there and stare at each other, and it was like we were having a conversation without even saying anything, and we were totally connected. When you felt that, it's like you want to experience that again. So if I was going to spend my life with somebody, I want that. I don't want to settle for something. Settle's a horrible word, but something that's not that. So in that respect, it would make me fussy and picky. So
do you think there's very much different levels of love then?
Oh God, but you know there is, like having kids.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I remember sitting cradling Charlotte, like 8 months pregnant with Tasha, thinking, I don't understand how, like, I was worried because I was like, I don't understand how I can love this new child as much as I love the one I've already got. But then I loved them, maybe, you know, like I had the same kind of love for my husband as well. So it's like there is unlimited love. It's just all different.
And you can show love in different ways as well. Yeah. You know, lots of people can just mistake it for sex, or, you know, and that's how they show their love, or they can do the littlest of things like gestures, and that's their love.
Well, there's love languages as well. There's 5 love languages, is it?
I don't know, is there?
Yeah, so there's 5 love languages. So there's words of affirmation. So some people need to hear like love affirmations. The other one is quality time, so spending time with each other. Some people have the love language of needing physical touch. Others is acts of service, and my particular one is receiving gifts.
At least she's on me
gifts and I'm happy. Yes, you can buy me.
Oh, funny.
I think what's interesting though, you say about that, about love, but one of the things that goes along with love is forgiveness. And a lot of people get really, really confused about, especially if somebody's cheated on them, or they've, you know, everybody talks about forgiveness. And the way that I always talk to clients about this is, it's not about forgiving them for what they did. It's about forgiving yourself for holding on to the hurt that you felt in that particular relationship. So I always say this to clients is always try and look at a situation through the lens of love, because there's only good situations and lessons. There are no bad situations. And often when we talk about breakups, even divorces, it's, it used to be a bad thing. It's not now, is it? But
No.
if you're holding on to something that's giving you no value and no love, how can you open up a space to bring new love in? So I think that's really important to say that actually what we had was amazing and I am grateful for that opportunity. But now I can move into a space to find that love again because I have that self-love. And that's why when you become another whole, the fact that you are not dependent on another for love allows you to find love easier. And that can be anything, whether that's work, whether that's, So I always say to people when they're looking at a situation, especially if they're feeling aggrieved or they've had a breakup or something like that, what is the opportunity? What can I learn? Look through the lens of love. What did that person give me? What were the great attributes and what were the things? Because actually this is a truth. Nobody can make you feel anything because you create all of the feelings. Everything that you experience, good and bad, actually you physically create that neurobiological chemical thing that is called your body. Yeah. And actually when you do that, that's quite empowering. And quite interestingly, my wife said to me this to me. I said, I always tell the story because it's quite funny because she got me back on a bit of psychology. And I remember standing at the top of the stairs. I was really annoyed with that. I don't know what it was, something stupid. Do you know what? When you do that, it really makes me feel whatever. And she just looked up at me and smiled and went, but remember, Marcus, I can't make you feel anything. It's like, fuck. But she was true. It was true. Yeah. She's clearly listened too much. But it is true. Nobody can make you feel anything. You feel that. So actually owning that and and being grateful for it, even that pain, can make you more powerful. And in Japan, I don't know if you're aware of this, if they smash a vase in Japan, when they put it back together, all the cracks, they paint gold in between the cracks to show the value of the cracks. And I think we don't show, especially in the UK, we don't allow ourselves to show the value of the cracks. No, we don't. The value of our damage.
And we rely too much on others for our happiness too. Yeah. It like you say, it comes from within. So we are tied on time, and I do want to get in Penny's tips for her holistics and a Reiki and a wonderful, I want to hear all about these essential oils. And so, for all the moods really for Valentine's. So where do we start? Have you got some sort of tips on what can make us feel frisky maybe?
What you mean, aphrodisiac essential oils?
Why not?
Well, I'm absolutely obsessed with essential oils, love it. So I've I thought about it and I was like, God, I've got like about 300 here. No, I haven't. I've got like 100, actually 172. But so they're just, I love essential oils. They can be used for anything, to get you in the mood, spice up your love life, to help you become closer to somebody, or it may even be to like release tension or something like that. Okay. So I think that essential oils, I mean, I obviously use them in my Reiki treatments and things like that. They add an extra layer of support, but in terms of like Valentine's Day, they can also get you in the right state of mind to sort of experience love. So there's different types of oils. So there's warming oils, which can increase and excite libido. There's cooling oils, which can calm the nervous system. There's oils that can help open up emotions and help increase communication. There's oils that can promote, I don't know, like focus, and like this one, passion. Okay. There's ones that help soothe the body and also can help promote body confidence as well. But I mean, obviously I'm on my own, so that I don't have anybody to use these with this year. But you know, it's all about creating that intimacy. And I think the touch as well, touch is human touch. We've been starved of it for so long, like in, you know, especially single people in lockdown and everything, that I think there's a lot of people out there that are craving human touch, but scent has a lot to do with it as well.
Okay.
So I thought I would tell you just about a couple today, because so we're tight on time. So the first three that I'm going to tell you about are the ones that are actually the main notes in my perfume. So I've worn Ghost, the fragrance, since I was 18. And I still love it. And it's really funny because people text me and they go, Penny, where are you? I can smell you, but I can't see you. So kind of everybody associates it with me now. So the first note in that, the top note in that, is rose, and it's a sweet floral aroma, and I think it's really beautiful and romantic. And it's really physically and emotionally good for opening up your heart chakra, and it also enhances self-esteem and desire as well. And then the next one is jasmine, which I think that women are just automatically drawn to. Jasmine enhances your mood and your energy, and it has a balancing effect on the nervous system. It can help with depression, and also produces euphoric feelings and helps with self-confidence and optimism, so reducing fears and worry and easing nervousness as well. Which I don't know if any of you are like me, but whenever I meet somebody new, or like, I get so nervous, like I blush, I go bright red, and I can't speak and everything. In fact, the worst time that happened to me, it wasn't a date, but he was sat next to me at dinner. We were at the Wolsey in London, and Bill Nighy was sat next to me, and I literally have the biggest crush on him, like you couldn't believe. And my mum was just laughing at me because I just completely clammed up and I couldn't eat or anything. So I needed some jasmine then.
Wow, I can't see you ever getting embarrassed.
For me, I am super shy, like painfully shy.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
God.
painfully shy. So the next one is vanilla. And vanilla it creates like sort of familiar and nostalgic feelings, but it can be quite evocative as well, and again romantic, a bit like the rose. And I think it's quite captivating as well, but it's also comforting and creates a relaxing kind of sort of atmosphere. So those three are my top three favorites because they're in my perfume.
Okay.
But then the other one I've chosen, because it's Valentine's Day, is the Passion Blend. And this has got in it, it's cardamom, cinnamon. I've actually got it on, I can really smell the cinnamon. Ginger, which is really warming, clove, sandalwood, jasmine, vanilla, and damiana leaf, which I have no idea what that smells like. So this is really good if you've lost your mojo or you've lost your passion. Doesn't have to just be used on Valentine's Day. And it's also good for when things have become a little predictable or boring as well, or stale. So you could use this. It's quite spicy and herby, and it helps you rekindle excitement in your life.
Oh, I say.
Chose that one.
So how do you use these? Obviously, you can have them by having a massage, but how, you know, if someone is looking in and wants to know how you use the oil, how do you do that?
So this one it's a touch one. So it's already diluted with fractionated coconut. So I just like literally put it on my pulse points like that, rub it. You could put it in the palms of your hands, smell it. Maybe put it on certain acupressure points, like the ears are a good place, or the soles of the feet. I douse myself in my perfume, so it just goes everywhere. But you can, I don't recommend burning oils. I recommend putting them in a diffuser. So a couple of drops, you don't need a lot, less is more with oils. Mix it in with the water in the diffuser and then just inhale it, the safest way to do it. But yeah, put a couple of drops in some oil and do a massage. I'm not a massage fan, so
If you use them in your Reiki, I'd be really interested in that, because that is something that you've got that, you know, touch, but also when you're doing Reiki, you don't necessarily have that. And actually smell when your eyes are closed becomes more heightened. So I can see how using those essential oils in Reiki can make that experience it can put another level on it, can't it?
Yeah. So the way that I use the oils in the Reiki is when the client comes in, I do a full well-being questionnaire with them. And then I ask them what their top 3 emotions are of the day. And then I match the essential oil up to each emotion, because there's an essential oil for every emotion.
That's amazing.
So then the first one I use on the soles of the feet. So I start off by stroking the soles of the feet with, I've not got them here, they're like flannel mitts. So I mean, the sensation, literally, I had it done to me once in a treatment at a spa thing, and that's why I've incorporated it into my Reiki experience, because I literally could have just had that for an hour. So like, I don't know, it was like, I think it kind of took me back to my childhood kind of thing. It was really comforting. So I stroke the feet with the hot mitts for 5 minutes. Then I apply the first essential oil to the soles of the feet, because it goes into your bloodstream quicker. So it helps it work quicker. I'm doing a guided meditation while I'm doing all this. And then I get the second oil and I put it on the palms of my hand. So as I'm doing the treatment, that's where they smell that one. Oh, I'm feeling that energy again.
Wonderful.
And then the third one I use at the end of the treatment. So that's one that's probably more a bit uplifting or energizing.
Sounds amazing. So do you want to tell everyone where they can find you, Penny? On the socials? Yeah.
Right. I was going to say I'm here. Yeah. So you can find me at Penelope Silver UK on Instagram and Facebook.
Fabulous. So you can go and see Penny for all those wonderful treatments. And yourself, Marcus?
So I'm kind of all over social media, but Marcus A. Matthews is my Instagram. And you can find most of my stuff at makeyourlifecount.co.uk. So yeah, please connect. So connection is important. And I think that's
very
one
important.
of the things to take away.
Yeah, we've had a good show, haven't we? I've really enjoyed today. So thank you to you both. And all our shows can be viewed on Cheshire Socialites YouTube channel and also on Cheshire Socialites Business Connections group. So have a lovely, whatever you do, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Celebrate love every day with the people you can, not just on the 14th. Our next show is March the 6th, and we're talking on a more serious level to Matt Eagles. He lives with Parkinson's disease. So that will be on March the 6th. But for now, thank you very much, Penny and Marcus, and I'll see you very soon.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Love.